Feminism nowadays is teaching people a lot of things, and many of them they are not being taught towards their well-being, towards their becoming a better version of themselves. See, if you look historically and take certain things into account, well, feminism has been birthed out of the Communist Manifesto because in the Communist Manifesto it was written a long time ago that the entire population has to be taxed. You can't tax half of the population and only keep men into this financial bondage. You also have to attract women. So great people have employed great strategies to make people even more ignorant, but at the same time docile, through materialism, through giving them the illusion that by getting all the things that they have been constantly advertising on television, they will feel much better, but they only filled the void even more. You have to understand psychology has only been used mainly on how to manipulate the masses, how to make them more docile, because, well, this is how some people can get their control. When feminism says that women have all the power in the bed, see, power is a comparison in the end. You cannot be powerful on your own. You're powerful in situations when you pit your capabilities, your physical capabilities, emotional capabilities against different stimuli, different situations. Someone can be strong in this society by doing this or that, but if they're suddenly lost in a jungle, I doubt they will be equally strong, right? Don't forget there is emotional strength, there is physical strength, there are other types as well. So one has to understand women and beds, well, that will work typically for unconscious people. But in the end, it also is wrong because unconscious people do nothing else but follow blindly their compulses. When you're functioning by your compulses, where is your strength? Because you're nothing else but a slave to your compulses, right? So you end up with some kinds of those people who, they only live by their fetishes. They only live by something that presupposedly gives them some sense of satisfaction. And they will live and make their entire life around that, right? So if we are to think a bit further into this, if a woman is conscious, you may speak about her as being strong because a conscious person will seek to um, have good maintenance over their emotions, how they make use of those, how they make use of their cognitive aspects of their life, right? Their mental part, how they understand things, how they use their intuition and the such. Someone who is unconscious typically doesn't have much of a strength because they will be a slave of their compulsions. Many of the feminists you see in this sick society, well, they are part of this sick system. So can you expect them to be, mentally, emotionally healthy? I don't think. There was a wise quote that said, aligning yourself with the principles of a sick society does not equate to you being healthy, right? That's no measure of health. So, if we go a bit further, you will see that most of these people, they are nothing else but drones who seek their own idea of control. You have to understand, nobody has any power in the bed. Because having power in the bed means you're finding some weak people whom you can easily control, right? Because power can be conscious or unconscious. To me, there is a whole difference in between because the karmic structure that you build around with how you use power is going to be different. If you say that you're powerful only because you've met some weaklings who you've easily controlled, see how abusive people will control you is they give you the impression that they can please something or fulfill something within you, and they will simply start no longer allowing you that, disallowing you that, so that they make you even more perverted into wanting that which they initially gave you the impression that they can give. Abusive women will use sex as a weapon, and afterwards they will start denying you that because unconsciously they know that the more something is denied of you, the more perverted you become with that idea. You've known that ever since you were a child, indirectly at least, because when you want something and your parents say no, well, your mind will become even more obsessed with thinking about that. Obsession means you're becoming weaker, you're becoming needier. So, this is basically what people think when they say, these unconscious people think when they say women have the power. See, you only have the power to pick your partners. Your partners, if they are conscious or aware of certain things, maybe, they won't pick you. What you're gonna do? You're no longer powerful. If you're a narcissistic fucker, you're gonna make an objective out of those. So you're gonna devote your entire life towards pulling those people down, right? Because you're not interested in weaklings. A narcissist will only be interested in those people who are actually a challenge, right? Whom they can manipulate, turn their friends against, and ruin their entire life because, well, that's basically what a narcissist is. It's a black hole that simply breaks everything down. And, well, a more compulsive one because they are slaves of their compulsion, and well, they will seek to demolish everything that someone has because ultimately they are convinced that they were not worthy of anything. See, a man has equal power in the bed because they can also choose whether they want to sleep with a woman or not. Women are slowly learning this, and they will mostly learn this the hard way. Because dealing with a sick society means you will deal with a lot of deviants, with a lot of weaklings, who will do nothing else but, follow certain trends and this and that. They will look in porn magazines and they will think, hey, look, this is how everyone functions. I must be like this in order to, get my attention. But, they will only be hooking people because in their shallowness, most of these people can't go beyond sex. You have to understand, in misery, people simply do not allow themselves any greater pleasure than sex. It is the easiest to obtain, and also a lot of people think that they will meet a stranger, they will have sex, and that's it, right? In their shallowness, they're not willing to follow anything further than that, right? To follow anything better. Well, is that a good thing or not? It is up to everyone, right? Some women think that they are powerful because they got a higher body count than the others. See, this is just prison mindset. The one who has the longest years is the boss, right? Well, in some cases, not always, but there is also a tendency for people to think like that. See, having a higher body count means you have fucked yourself up karmically in such a way that you're no longer suffering from your own miseries. You have pulled into your system miseries from everyone you have slept with. Those people end up incapable, almost, if not entirely, of actually investing in a relationship. Because when they start suffering from everyone else's miseries that they slept with, now they are part of their system as well, handling your own life can be difficult, but now imagine that you have to handle other people's miseries as well, without them being around. You just slept with them, you have created some karmic cords, which, well, you're not gonna demolish easily, right? You can watch those YouTube videos about how to do, ASMR or, guided meditations on stripping yourself of such cords. It's not gonna happen, okay? You're gonna have to do a lot of freaking work to do that, right? That is why even the Bible says the devil will be using sex against you, because it is the easiest way to karmically bond yourself with other people, even beyond this physical life. So the point is, where is your actual strength? See, if we look at things from a certain perspective, people who are virgins in a way, they are very strong, right? Because imagine one thing, a sick society will always laugh at you when you have succeeded with something correct, with something truthful, right? But a sick society will think that, for example, being a virgin is something shameful, right? Because let's look at things in a certain way. You have achieved something. Let's say you are a virgin at 30 or 40 years, right? There was that American movie, Virgin at 40 Years, or something like that, I don't know. And everyone was laughing at them. But in the end, isn't that true strength? In a world obsessed with sex, you never had it, right? You never know what it is, most likely. So, well, outside of, experiencing it through porn or certain things, but those are not the real deal. But the point is, you have not done something that everyone is obsessed with, right? It's like being a non-smoker surrounded by smokers. Isn't that a certain strength from a certain standpoint? Because to a non-smoker, the idea of smoking doesn't exist in their mind for even a split second. While smokers will always think when to smoke their next cigarette or what to do while they're smoking their cigarette, right? The less compulsions you live by, that is actually true strength. If you live your life thinking that the only strength you have is how many people you sleep with, well, don't forget sex bots will be arriving soon. Women will learn that the hard way because they are forgetting one thing. When you deal with weak men who only seek a mommy or whatever they seek to please their fetishes, you're forgetting also one thing. When you're pleasing someone's fetishes or you're abusing them and they love being abused, they are actually in control. It's not you. You're actually playing their game. It's called reverse control. But a lot of people living by their compulsive are too silly to realize that, right? Because when you abuse others, you have obviously a passion to be abused as well. It's just that you're not finding someone to abuse you as you think you like, so you're also abusing yourself, right? When you use power against others, it means using your own energy. When you use your own energy to harm others, you're also causing some harm on yourself. But being miserable, being ignorant, you're not conscious of that, right? Every time you seek something, you also seek the opposite from a certain standpoint, right? People who are masochistic will also be in a way sadistic because they love feeling pain, so they are sadistic over themselves, right? People who are sadistic mainly, they are masochistic over themselves because by inflicting pain on others, aka using their sadism, they're also imposing pain and they're causing pain on yourself because on themselves because, well, that is the part of the masochism. Don't forget everything functions in duality. If you're obsessing about something, the other is also somewhere there, right? If you're obsessing to hurt others, it's because you're hurt yourself. You seek to hurt yourself, but you think by hurting others, you're not hurting yourself physically, right? Because you're also ignorant to the pain, to the emotional pain that you're causing, right? A lot of people simply live by these fetishes. Where is their power? Where is their strength? Simply living a needy life does not yield any strength. You're just in need. Isn't this what this sick society wants? That you are constantly in need? When you're in need, well, unfortunately, you're just weak. So one has to understand men have equal power in the bed if they are conscious, because if they don't like you, they can simply go away, right? In this sick society, you will really have a hard time meeting, in many cases, depending on geographical regions as well, depending on cultures, you will have sometimes a hard time finding the real deal, right? The real women who can be feminine and graceful, or the real men who can be, very astute, who can be very capable, who are actually capable, let's say it, of knowing what they seek in life, what they want. Because the power of a man comes from their responsibility, right? It is, in a way, a weakness of those who become ignorant, because ignorance means you no longer take responsibility into account, right? And women will seek that, right? To not take things into account, to not take responsibility into account when they end up thinking that they have all the power and they end up unconscious, right? A man's purpose is to remind her of her duties, of what her responsibilities are. And I'm not talking about the real so-called traditional responsibilities, because a woman is not necessarily strong when she's at home and she cooks and such. Maybe the man likes to cook, because nowadays it's a rising trend. When men can find compatible women, well, obviously they will start doing everything on their own because this is tribal energy. If I can't find someone to help me, I will do those myself, because a man's life is all about grind. You learn more skills, you learn more skills, you learn more skills. Women will do whatever, but if a man learns how to cook, maybe they will also learn how to do the cleanup, because if you can't find someone to do it for you, sooner or later you will be needed to do that, right? In your own apartment, you will have to do some cleaning sooner or later, right? So things can be very volatile when it comes to power, right? Hopefully this video raised a bit of awareness, and well, this being said, Ferinjan Board signing out.